why I'm no longer a vegetarian and or vegan. So I received this question on Instagram and it is such a good one. And I could write a book about this, but hey, I've already written 3 books. So right now I'm going to record a short YouTube video to kind of summarize the whole thing. So first of all, I just want to say that I have great respect for everybody's dietary choices. And if what you are doing is working, then you just keep on doing it. And here's a little backstory about why I was a vegetarian, sometimes vegan, for over 30 years and why I'm not anymore. Going on, it's like 15 plus years since I started eating meat again and loving it. So I became a vegetarian. I was an ovo-lacto vegetarian, meaning I didn't eat meat or fish or poultry or any of those things, but I did still consume dairy and eggs. Around the age of 11, I was in middle school, and I think it was sixth grade, so I would have been 11. And I did this simply because I love animals. I love animals so much to this. I mean, we all love animals, right? But I grew up, my grandmother had a farm, and it was kind of that connection of sometimes things were on the dinner table that I had like played with or petted, so it was that whole like real connection. And I decided that I wasn't going to eat meat anymore. My family was not vegetarians, never were. And I just stopped. And this was before the time of Beyond Burger and all the processed crap that's out there now. So, I learned about like combining beans and grains and all these things. And I read Diet for a Small Planet, which was like a bestseller back then. And I started doing all these things. And I did these things for over 30 years. So at various times, I was, maybe pescatarian where I did eat some fish. But most of the time, I was either an ovo-lacto vegetarian or sometimes just eggs or sometimes none of that. And I really was totally vegan towards the end, raw vegan for a lot of it. So let's just say I've done all of the things. And I think all in all, I was a healthy vegetarian. I was eating real food. I was eating a lot of really good food. Weight was never a big issue for me, but bloating, puffiness, and inflammation was. I was having a lot of digestive stuff, like for as long as I can remember, like definitely my teens, even before that, like even before I was a vegetarian, I always had some digestive stuff. And for me, the biggest thing that just impacted my whole life and made me miserable was cystic acne, chronic cystic acne for decades. I did everything, every topical antibiotic dabbing, clindamycin, all these things in my face, every antibiotic that again wrecks your gut, and up to and including Accutane, not once, not twice, but 3 times. I did Accutane in high school, and then went back on it in that same era. I left, so my senior year, my face was clear. Everyone's kind of like, oh, wow, you got prettier. But I had so many side effects from it. Had a really bad case of mono, which, even my doctors back then thought was tied to the Accutane and some of the liver damage that it did. Again, that's a whole other story. Went back on it because it flared up again. So right in that same era, and then was on it again in my late 30s. So I've done all of the things. The acne would be suppressed, but it always came back with vengeance because we were never really getting to the root cause of the inflammation. So I dove down the vegan path, and eventually raw vegan, thinking that I just wasn't being good enough. And if I just cleaned up my diet even more, my skin had to get clear, right? So I was doing green smoothies and just raw everything and soaking and sprouting and combining and making these raw vegan treats out of dates and nuts and all this stuff and raw cacao and like buying the best ingredients. And my skin was actually getting worse. So inflammation was worse, giant cysts. My anxiety at this point was through the roof. Maybe my skin was causing, I was anxious because my skin was stressing me out. And the digestive stuff was, I looked like a pygmy because I was very thin. I didn't have much muscle on my arm, like I didn't have the muscle on my arms that I have now. And my little tummy was bloated all the time. So not a great not a great version of Elizabeth. Yeah, and yes, I would wear a bikini, but let's just say somebody close to me told me that it looks like a pygmy. Yep, it told me it looks like a pygmy. Um, so could go on. I almost said something that I'm just not going to say on YouTube. So anyway, um, I, in an effort to clear my skin once and for all, based on a study that I had read, I started adding more clean protein to my diet. It was basically, the study was about eliminating grains and sugar, which I was getting a lot of sugar from like dates and stuff like that to clear up your skin. Well, if I eliminate grains and the natural sugars, like literally there's nothing else for me to eat except just green vegetables. So I added eggs back into my diet, and then some broth, like some bone broth, and gradually some ground beef, and I didn't cut out fruit entirely, but cut out the like dried fruits and stuff, and cut out the grains, even though they were soaked and sprouted. And what happened to my face and eventually my entire life felt like a miracle. Within 24 hours, I could feel the inflammation in my face going down. I would wake up in the morning with my face hurting. And this was in my 40s, wanting to just having to go like cover myself in makeup, always being self-conscious, but you can't cover the bumps. I would get like a recurring like cyst, like here, like on my eyebrows, like not, it's like my eyebrow was like an exclamation point, like boom. So like an exclamation point at an angle. Anyway, so I could feel the pain and the inflammation going down on my face. Within a month, my skin was clear. My skin was clear. My skin was clear. Gradually over time, I noticed, and I started adding like, well, what if I ate a filet? Or like, what if I made some chicken drumsticks in the oven and ate all that delicious, crispy skin? And I was eating the most delicious food. And my digestion, like I no longer had the puffy, bloated belly. Um, I started putting on muscle. I had more energy, better mental clarity. I was happier. I mean, maybe because my skin was prettier, who knows? But everything got better in my life, and it continues to. And here I am at 58, 5 years post menopause. And I can tell you that I am in the best shape of my life. Physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, like everything is better. My body's never been better. I have more energy is through the roof, mood, like vitality, zest for life. And then the mental clarity. I had definitely had some of that like perimenopause brain fog in my early 40s before I started on this journey. But now, brain fog, what's that? Menopause belly? Don't know anything about that. I've got flat ripped abs every day of the week. So that's why I'm not a vegetarian or vegan. And again, I respect everybody's choices. And if that's what you are and it's working for you, keep on doing you. But if it's not, maybe try some eggs and some broth and maybe a little ground beef. See what happens. See what happens. Anyway, if you would like more information on how I eat, on how to use this to your advantage, especially if you want to like even, it's not just about the skin, but about losing weight, putting on muscle, all of those things. You've got to check out my cookbooks. The Happy, Healthy, and Hot cookbook is my first one. Second one is Happier, Healthier, and Hotter. They both ebooks, immediate digital downloads that can change your life. I will link them in the comments. And have the most amazing day. This was a fun one.